I think the iPhone 15 Pro Max might just be the best iPhone you should buy right now. Hear me out. The iPhone 16 Pro Max might be grabbing all the attention, but let's not forget about this device that still packs a punch and costs less. It's been over a year since its launch, and I've used this device since the launch months. So, did it live up to the hype, or has it lost its appeal with the newer models around? I'll share my full experience over the past year, and so without taking much of your time, yo guys, let's get started. When this device was launched, its biggest highlight was its grade 5 titanium frame. 1 year later, it still feels premium and incredibly sturdy. Apple's decision to move away from the stainless steel definitely made this thing light and strong. With a weight of around 221 grams, it's laughably durable. Trust me, I've dropped this device more times than I would like to count, and if phones could press assault charges, I'll be in trouble. Yet somehow, the Corning Gorilla Glass here for the front and the back haven't picked up much damage. By the way, I don't use screen protectors on my smartphones, so at some angle you might be able to see the micro scratches on the screen. Switching to titanium for the frame seems to be aging like fine wine. It still feels light, but ridiculously durable in the hand. Honestly, I was expecting more scratches and scuffs to show up on this device after a year, but thanks to that brushed titanium finish, this phone still looks almost brand new. Also, using a phone case helped tremendously with this device. I actually bought a lot of cases for the iPhone 15 Pro Max over the years, and some of my best are these three: the Case Cool case, the Taurus case, and also the Elago case. By the way, I bought all of them with my money, so this video isn't sponsored. If any of these brands want to sponsor a video, we could work things out. One thing I love about this back here is the fact that it's not a fingerprint magnet, which for someone like me, it's a blessing. There's no need to wipe down this device every 5 minutes if you're not using a case with it. And now the action button is something that was brand new for the iPhone 15 Pro Max, so I only use this action button to toggle on the silent mode. The only other times I use this button is only to show when teaching people on how to create shortcuts in maybe a short video or a reel. Otherwise, I don't normally think to reach to this button for quick access. Now, don't get me wrong, it's for sure a powerful add-on on this smartphone, and I can see why a lot of people would want to use this every day, but it's not just for me. Also, the USB-C was introduced on this device for the iPhone lineup, and that was one of the best decisions Apple made here. I no longer have to travel with more than one charging cable just to charge several devices. A USB cable is enough for everything I own. So in terms of the design and the build quality, well, let's just say a year later, this thing still looks pretty premium. On the audio side of things, the iPhone 15 Pro Max features a stereo speaker setup that delivers loud and clear audio. There's a decent amount of bass, making it suitable for listening to music or watching videos. Now, the speakers are also well balanced with no distortion at the maximum volume, and it's better than the S24 Ultra from Samsung. And that's because it gives this cleaner and punchier bass. It still stands its ground over a year later. Alright, let's dive into the cameras. I've snapped over 1,000 photos and videos with this thing here. Trips, holidays, everyday shots, you name it. So there's a lot to unpack here. First up, we've got a 48 megapixel main shooter, a 12 megapixel periscope telephoto, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and the trusty LiDAR scanner. Now, the iPhone 15 Pro Max still shines with this quad camera setup. The main sensor captures stunning photos with sharp details and vibrant colors, while the telephoto lens nails those portrait shots. Now, the ultra wide on the other hand is perfect for those sweeping landscapes, and for low light photos, it's improved a ton over the past year. Now, when we stack this against the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the differences are there, but they are subtle. The iPhone 16 Pro Max has some upgraded image processing and a refined 48 megapixel ultra-wide sensor. But unless you're zooming in or pixel peeping, it's not a game changer. And when it comes to low light performance, this is already impressive. And while the 16 Pro Max tweaks the dynamic range a bit, it's more of a small step forward than a massive leap from what we have here. On the video front, I've tried it all. Using the main camera app, the Blackmagic camera app, you've got options here. And the iPhone 15 Pro Max records in 4K up to 60 FPS with solid stabilization and accurate colors. The cinematic mode adds that pro level depth of field effect. And the front camera on this thing is perfect for your vlogs or video calls, even in low light. These videos you're currently watching were shot with the iPhone 15 Pro Max in Apple ProRes log. The color depth is seriously impressive if you know how to work with it. You can also connect this smartphone to an external SSD to maximize the video capabilities, which is pretty wild for a phone, right? For everyday photography, the dynamic range, color science, and all the classic Apple magic are still here. Now, the iPhone 15 Pro Max remains a top contender with its powerful camera system. You have this gorgeous display and cinematic features that still wow me a year later. If you're loving this video so far, kindly hit on that like button and subscribe to this channel if you're new here, as it helps us a bunch. Thank you. Onto the display. Apple is still flexing this 6.7-inch LTPO Super Retina XDR OLED panel on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. When it launched, it was top tier and still holds its ground today. Max 2000 nits peak brightness means that this thing was and still is an absolute powerhouse for outdoor viewing. In direct sunlight, it's like carrying around a tiny super bright sun in your pockets. Now, this display here is 120Hz ProMotion tech, and that's the real MVP with this panel. Whether you're swiping through social media or gaming, the fluidity is so smooth, it's like the display is actually anticipating your every move. Now, this is still one of the best displays you can get right now. But if you stack it up against the iPhone 16 Pro Max, Apple made a few improvements. The iPhone 16 Pro Max cranks the brightness up to a higher 2400 nits, and by the way, I have a full comparison video on these two devices which you can check out here. Now, while that extra pop in brightness makes a difference in specific bright environments, both displays are usually incredibly crisp and vibrant. They are definitely at the top of their game, so only in extreme outdoor situations will you notice that extra bump. Honestly, the iPhone 15 Pro Max's display is right there with the best of them, and it's still feature-proof enough to carry enough users, or most users, through the next few years without missing a bit. The ceramic shield glass protects this screen from scratches and cracks, and I have no issues with the screen's durability. Overall, I can tell you that the iPhone 15 Pro Max's display is a top-notch display that offers excellent image quality, performance, and durability. This is top of the line 1 year later. Now, this smartphone has the A17 Pro Bionic chip and is still an absolute monster when it comes to everyday tasks and gaming. In fact, this same chip has been used with the iPad Mini 7, which was announced a few weeks ago. From launching apps to rendering heavy video edits, this smartphone has kept up without breaking a sweat. It still doesn't feel like an old device in my hand. I mean, it shouldn't, considering the price tag and being just a device that was a flagship device for Apple last year. Now, if compared to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which has the A18 Pro Bionic chip, you do get a bit more raw power. But the thing is, most of us are not pushing our smartphones to the limits every single day. In day-to-day tasks, the extra refinement in speed is barely noticeable for the average user. iOS 18 brought some neat features this year like FaceTime improvements, a revamped action button for customized shortcuts, and some user-friendly upgrades that help manage your mood tracking and wellness apps. Nothing wild, but enough to keep things fresh. Also, the AI or Apple Intelligence features which were announced with this device, the iPhone 16 this year, are also going to come over to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So you're basically going to have the same experience, and this is no slouch by today's standards. So tell me, what's more important to you in a smartphone? Insane performance and speed upgrades, or having a killer display that looks amazing in any lighting? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Over the past 30 months or more, I've been playing a variety of games on this device like Call of Duty Mobile, Asphalt, and the rest, and this smartphone handles these games with ease, delivering smooth gameplays over super graphic settings. During intense gaming sessions, this smartphone actually gets too hot to hold, and you'd notice that without having a case on. I've noticed the iPhone 15 Pro Max's ProMotion display makes a significant difference during gaming. Now, that higher refresh rate provides smoother animations and more responsive controls. This might not be the gamer ROG type phone, but Apple 17 Pro chip can pretty well handle anything you throw at it. One area where Apple exceeded expectations in 2023 was in the battery life, thanks to the 4441 mAh battery capacity. Out of the box, you could get through a full day of use even without stressing about charging. 1 year later, after continuous usage, this might have dipped maybe 10% for most heavy users. I don't consider myself a heavy user with the iPhone because I'm pretty much an Android guy. I only do social media, consuming content, and posting over there with the iPhone, and also I use this as a handy video camera when the need arises. I average about 8 hours screen on time with this device, and that's before I switched over to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. The good thing about this device is the fact that there are options for you. You get up to 15 watt MagSafe charging, and you're not getting the fastest charging compared to Android competitors out there offering 100 watts fast charging using the cables. But hey, 50% in 30 minutes wired charging is decent. And if you're like me who rely heavily on Qi wireless charging, it's consistent and reliable on this smartphone. Coming back to the big question, is the iPhone 15 Pro Max still worth a year after its release? Absolutely. It hasn't felt old or outdated, and Apple's support with iOS means this device has several more years of life baked in. The design is still stunning and the performance is top tier, and even the battery life here has held up quite well. You can currently get this device for about $900 right now, and for the same memory configuration as the iPhone 16 Pro Max 256GB, that will cost you upwards of $200 more. On the flip side, if you're eyeing the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is the newer device, you're getting a slightly better performance, which you won't notice for day-to-day use. This older device is better value for you right now. If you're using the iPhone 15 Pro Max, how has it been treating you after a year? Drop your comments below and do not forget to watch my next video on the iPhone 16 Pro Max comparison against the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra here. Till then, I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Call you that day.